Welcome to the Sam and Joe VA Show, where we teach women just like you how to create your very own in-demand virtual assistant business.
We're your hosts, Sam and Joe, and get ready to have the control, flexibility, and freedom you've always dreamed of.
Welcome to episode 29, 5 Ways to Avoid Burnout.
We're seeing this happen more and more, especially this time of year. We're recording this at the beginning of November. 2020 has been a year and a half. It hasn't just been 11 months. I think for a lot of people, it feels like it's been at least 24 months in 2020. So we've got a global pandemic. We've got Christmas coming up, Thanksgiving, all of those big events that are stressful enough. Clients this time of year, I don't know about you, but a lot of clients, they ramp up. They want lots of stuff done before they wrap up for the end of the year. So it's a stressful time of year, full stop. We're seeing lots of virtual assistants reach out to us and just say, oh, I'm just so tired. I'm burnt out. How can I work smarter to avoid this? So we've got some suggestions.
We sure do. And I think another thing that contributes to almost burning out at this time of the year is that even though we had lockdown and, some people were able to actually take a break, many people who were in business, it took so much more headspace and they had to make a lot of decisions, and there was a lot of worry, and it actually put more pressure on them, and they didn't get a break at all because they were trying to keep their businesses afloat. And so it's the same for virtual assistants. Those who had a virtual assistant business saw a drop in clients. Lockdown wasn't a break for them. It was like, right, how do I ramp this up? How do I get more clients? Like in dealing with their own family and what's going on for them. So by the time we've gotten to November, we've got many virtual assistants who are in the situation where they're on the verge of burnout. And if anyone has actually burnt out, I haven't, but I felt like I've been close. It's really not a good space to be in. So we're here to help.
Oh, absolutely. And I can say hand on heart, I have burnt out in being a VA. It happened a few years ago now, and it got bad. It got red. I was at the point where I was ready to just call it quits. And it wasn't until I realized that, a lot of I guess I got myself in the situation. And it only took a few little tweaks to my business model, I guess, for things to completely change around. And it was like, wow, why didn't I do this sooner? I'm working smarter, not harder.
Yeah, there are plenty of virtual assistants who feel compelled to say yes to everyone. And they definitely have some clients that they potentially shouldn't have. And they have low paying clients, and, you just keep saying yes, and you don't want to disappoint anyone, and you don't want to turn away new clients and new leads. So you just keep saying yes, yes, yes. And then you're working from 7 in the morning to 10 at night, and you're wondering, how the heck did I get here? How did this become what a virtual assistant business is? I thought that, I was going into business to have a lifestyle and, have time with my family, and I've just now got the opposite.
Yeah, it's a real eye-opening moment, I think. But the good news is, if you are feeling this way, if you would just feel as though you are continuously exhausted, and every time that a new email comes through, instead of being really excited about it, you just groan and just feel the dread, there is things that you can do to turn it around, and we're going to share those with you right now. So we've got 5 ways to avoid burnout. Number 1 is to specialize and niche. So this is looking at your services, especially if you are a freelance virtual assistant that offers every single service under the sun. I did it. So
Yeah.
I know this is one of the things that got me into trouble early on. If you're a generalist virtual assistant and you're exhausted and you'll finding yourself doing jobs that you don't actually enjoy doing, or they're a low value, I guess, services, so you're not actually bringing in a lot of money for doing those jobs, then you absolutely need to be thinking about specializing. So offering 1 to 3 services max, or specializing in, with in a particular industry of clients.
Sam, you are a great example of specializing, and you've actually taken it to the extreme. We've talked about this quite a lot, where you actually specialize in not just web design, but web design in Squarespace. And it avoids that burnout because you only really have to focus your energy into one thing and keeping up with one thing and knowing something really well and talking to clients about that one thing, right?
Yeah. So website design, that was one of the services that I offered, one of about 50 probably. Um, and that was the one thing that I was loving the most. Like it never feels like work. It still doesn't. It didn't then, and it still doesn't now. It's something that I just really, really enjoy doing. I'm in my happy place when I'm doing it. So for me, when it came to, right, I need to specialize. What am I going to offer? It was a no-brainer to pick the thing that fills me with the most joy.
That's what it's all about, isn't it? When you're trying to figure out what service that you are going to choose and which ones you're going to get rid of, it's really all comes down to what do you just love getting up and doing, and you don't put it off, you don't procrastinate on it. It's like, what is that thing? And just do it really well. And it feels counterintuitive to like niche right down, because you think, but then, is there enough people who are going to want this? But what it does is it just makes you stand out, and it makes your messaging so clear, and people remember what you do. And so you just naturally get more clients because it's so clear. So absolutely the first thing, if you are in that, like feeling like you're going to burn out, specialize.
Yeah, 100%. What's next on our list, Jo?
All right. Number 2 is to review your pricing. And not just your like hourly rate, but also the model that you have for your pricing. Number 1 is to increase the price. Like if you are doing hourly rate or you're doing some packages, increase the price. If you're feeling like you're almost at burnout, it means that you've got plenty of leads, plenty of clients. So increase the price that you are going to charge those existing clients, put the rate up for them, but also put your rate up for any new leads coming in. Being booked out means that you're now too cheap.
Yeah, it really is as simple as that. If you are inundated with new leads and you almost can't keep up with them, and you're turning down work left, right, and center, not because you don't want to do the work, but because you actually just don't have the time or energy to do it, you are absolutely too cheap. You want that kind of sweet spot in your pricing where you're getting the occasional no, you're too expensive. But for every no, you're too expensive, you're getting 3 that take you on without even questioning your pricing.
Yeah. If you're getting no no's, you're way too cheap, and you need to put your price up until you start getting no's. Yeah.
Tough though.
Because
it's
what
a tough
it means
one
is
for
that
some.
it is tough. But what it means is that immediately, as soon as you have that new pricing in and people are paying you that price, you have to do less work to get the same amount of money. Less hours, less work that you're putting into it each week.
Yep.
All right.
And I'm pretty sure it's science. It's just science.
Maths.
It's a science and maths the same thing. I don't know.
Clearly not your subjects that you enjoyed at school, Sam.
Clearly not.
Okay. The second part of that review your pricing is to implement that value-based pricing. So that's about moving away from hourly rate as soon as you possibly can, and doing some fixed fees based on the value that you can provide to your clients by delivering that service. It might save them a ton of time. It might streamline things amazingly in their business. It might get them a ton of leads coming in. Whatever value you're providing by delivering that service, like, it needs to be priced based on the value that the client is going to get from you doing that.
Yeah, 100%. If you're still on an hourly rate, you need to check out a previous podcast episode that we've done on the different ways to price. And if you don't even know what value-based pricing is and want to learn more about that, we've got a podcast episode exactly on that as well. So check that one out.
Perfect. What's next?
Setting boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is important in life in general.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't just business boundary setting, but you should be setting boundaries and saying no to things in your personal life as well. Setting boundaries to me is saying no a lot of the time, or it's pushing back. If somebody's expecting you to drop everything and it's 5 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, or you've got a client that weekly starts ringing you on a weekend or flicking you through things, wanting you to work in the weekends, push back.
Yep. There's two parts to that. There's one is set the expectations right up front. So in that handover meeting, it's like, right, so this is how it works. These are the hours that I'll be available. Feel free to send anything through at any time. Just know that I'm going to pick that up when I start work at 8:30, 9 o'clock, whatever your start time is in the morning, and I'll work through until whatever your end time is. And when you say it like that with confidence, and this is how it goes, like, the client has no option but to say, okay, that's how it works. That's what we're going to do. So set those boundaries up early up front, and then keep yourself accountable to those boundaries. The moment that you start and do the very first thing or the very first reply outside of those boundaries, you have now reset the boundaries and expectations with your client from then on. It's going to be very hard for you to say no next time. So you must be really strict on yourself and your clients, set those boundaries right up front, and then stick to them and keep them.
Yeah, and a good way to remind clients of those boundaries, I found as soon as I put like an automated reply on my email, so it doesn't matter who emails me, they immediately get an email right back in their inbox reminding them of my business hours, the days I work, the hours I work, and not only that, the 2 times a day I check my inbox. So then they're not then ringing me saying, I sent you an email an hour ago, why haven't you replied? Well, because I check my emails at 9 and 2, and that's it. So that's why I haven't replied.
Yeah, and it takes that awkward conversation out of it, doesn't it? Because they knew it at the start, and then they get reminded. That's awesome. Okay, next one. Number 4 is to hire a team. So this is not for everyone. But this is going to be for some people who have implemented value-based pricing. They're getting a ton of leads in, they've specialized, and now they are ready to take that to the next level where they can actually start training other people to deliver that service for them. If you are completely booked out and feeling like you're on the verge of burnout, and you've thought about the other 3 things, it might be time to consider hiring a team. And it's not for everyone. But some people are going to want to grow an agency. They're going to want to not be delivering client work themselves. So that's the position that I was in. I knew right from the beginning that I didn't want to be the one delivering the work, but I wanted to have a team and have an agency. So yeah, it could be time to hire a team and start getting some contractors, team members to actually help you deliver that work.
Yeah, we've had conversations recently actually with a handful of VAs kind of in this situation. In particular, they've got quite a few clients that have been with them from the beginning. They've built really, really great relationships with them. They haven't put up their prices, and so they're not earning the same amount as they are with some of their newer clients on their new prices. but they don't want to lose that good relationship. They really like those clients. They don't want to lose them, but they know potentially that client, they would never pay their new prices. So growing your team and then handing over those lower value clients to your team members, I mean, that's an alternative, right?
Yeah, if it works out, if you can, if they're paying you enough that you can still make a margin, the difference between what they pay you and what you pay your contractors, then yeah, absolutely. Or the alternative to that is to get rid of the low value clients. You know, if you're like, actually hiring a team is not for me. So you've done the other things, and then the next thing is that you're going to get rid of those low value clients. So you could connect them to where they could find another VA, or you might have VAs that you know that they could switch to them. You could give them a few options, or you could just say, hey, I'm just going to give you notice. This isn't the direction that I'm taking my business now. I'm going to be specializing in these things. And so, I'm going to give you notice to end me delivering the services by whatever date. But yeah, getting rid of, and it's really hard.
It is.
You're probably like, that might be your first clients or like previous workplaces, or you might be like doing sort of like a temping thing. We've had a VA say that they sort of have a part-time job where they're helping people out as a contractor, but it's really low value, low pay. And so, yeah, it's just sometimes time to just let those ones go. As hard as
it's I think it's always hard. Even those clients that for whatever reason are no longer your ideal clients, or perhaps they never were your ideal clients, but you took them on at the beginning because you just wanted clients and you wanted to start bringing in some income. There does come a time that you have to pull up your big girl pants and you need to write those Dear John and Dear Jane letters. And it's scary and it makes you feel sick, and you press send, or you pick up the phone to call, however you're going to communicate that with the client. It's going to make you sick, and you're going to doubt your decision, and you're going to think, gosh, am I going to get a new client to replace this one? I've been working with them for 6 years and they're my bread and butter, and oh my goodness. But as soon as you do it, we see this all the time. You have opened up some space for a better client, someone that is your ideal client, to then step in and take that spot. And then it feels fucking amazing when that happens.
Yeah. The relief that we hear virtual assistants talk about when they actually have done it, the relief is incredible. And so then it's like, I made the right decision. This is great. And yeah, then honestly, it makes room for your ideal client. When you don't have room in your business or your life for your ideal clients, they won't come. Once you make room for them, make the space for them, open yourself up to that opportunity, yeah, it's amazing what happens.
I have never had a conversation with a VA who's gone away and ditched their kind of their low value client, or their client that's no longer ideal. I've never had one that's come back to me and gone, well, 6 months later, and I haven't got any new clients to replace them. Never.
No.
In fact, it usually happens within a week they've replaced them.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay. Next up, the final one in our list, number 5, is schedule self-care. Gosh, I think a lot of virtual assistants, not all of virtual assistants, but a lot of us are mums. A lot of us really struggle with this. Women in general tend to struggle with self-care. I mean, if you don't, and this is a very general kind of thing that I'm talking about, those that don't schedule in self-care, those that do it on a regular basis, hats off to you. I mean, I really want to get to that point as well. It's something that I definitely struggle with. There's loads of things that can fall under self-care. It's what you need right now in your life, whether that's like a regular hair appointment, regular massage, regular exercise, going to the gym, catching up with friends, going out to dinner, having drinks, getting a regular babysitter, reading a book on a regular basis. I mean,
Well, you have a great list, Sam. Why are you not doing all these things?
yeah, exactly. I know I should be. I don't think I'd have any time. If I was to do everything on that list on a regular basis, I don't think I'd get any work done.
Yeah.
However, we've all got our thing that makes us happy and makes us calm and makes us relaxed and takes us away from the stress of running our own businesses. So whatever that is for you, I think it's key to make it a priority. So to schedule it in your diary. And then there's no kind of someone rings up, wants an appointment. If that's clashing with your hair appointment or your regular gym appointment, it clashes. Don't give up that appointment for a business-related thing. It's as simple as that. You've got to put yourself first.
Mm-hmm. There is a reason why, especially women, especially mums, have that guilt of doing something for themselves. And like society rewards us or says that we're great people if we put others first. Like that's a really people celebrate that value in someone when they're like, oh, you're so selfless and you do so much for other people and you like just look after other people and you're caring and nurturing. And so we think that that's how we become a good person, is we do lots of things for other people and put ourselves second. So we're taught this and society makes it like this. However, we've got to step back and we've got to realize that if we're going to run a really successful business that then allows us to spend great time with our family and provide for our family and, have a great lifestyle where we can then support and look after other people, we have to put ourselves first. Otherwise, we're going to burn out.
Yeah.
This is like, we should have put this as number one, actually.
We should have.
Doing this first and scheduling that time in your calendar for you. And anyone listening, like I'm actually flying my hands around here that you can't see, but like I really deeply believe that if we put ourselves first, and being selfish is not actually a bad thing. Like it's have such a negative connotation to it, but selfish is actually what we need to be. We need to look after ourselves first. That's all that selfish means, so that we can then look after other people and make a great business that helps other business owners and it supports our family.
Yeah, we are not going to be at our best for our clients if we are not occasionally putting ourselves first. We're going to be burnt out, tired. How can we give our best to anybody if we're feeling that way? A couple of things that I do, and it's only recently, like this has been a journey for me, putting myself first occasionally. I went through years where, I'd always buy the kids new clothes and new shoes and new whatever it was. And then I'd sit back and go, when was the last time I bought myself a new outfit? You know what? That's self-care. Going to the shop and buying yourself a new outfit, that is self-care. I refuse to take my laptop to the hairdresser. I absolutely refuse. I'll take my phone and occasionally I'll reply to a few texts and stuff like that. But I am there to experience getting away from it all. So I'm not a working at the hairdresser type of person. It's probably the only time that I have the opportunity to actually sit down and do nothing for 3 hours.
Yeah.
So on one hand, you kind of go, and I know you're in this boat, Jo. I think you're a laptop at the hairdresser type of gal. You're probably sitting there thinking, well, this is 3 hours of my time. I could be so productive in this 3 hours. And that's fine if you're that person like Jo. But Jo does other things. There's other self-care routines that Jo has instead of that. So it's all about what's important to you, and it's all about balance.
Yeah, absolutely. So my things are, I will just go, I work from home now. I have the office pod where I have team coming in and out. And even when my team are here, I'll go off and go to my gym appointments and then come back. And I'll go and get my hair done. Yes, I'll take my laptop if I'm feeling like inspired or wanting to do some writing. But I'll just go into the lounge and I'll just relax and do some reading or listen to a podcast, or I'll just go and hang out on our deck and, have a drink and whatever. But like me relaxing in the sun is my self-care time, listening to podcasts or reading or something like that. Yeah. Whatever works for you, whatever revives you, helps you relax.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be something that costs money. I mean, we've mentioned a few things like buying outfits, having a massage, having your hair done regular. I mean, that all involves money, but there's lots of self-care routines that doesn't involve money. And Jo, you've just touched on a few. I mean, one of mine during summer is shutting down a little bit earlier in the afternoon. So then I walk myself to school and then walk the kids back. Just really little things like that. Being in the sun, the walk there is amazing because I don't have anyone to talk to. The walk back, not so relaxing, but still.
All right. So those are our 5. And we really encourage you to do something in each of those, even if it's like, I'm going to put my price up by $2. I'm going to put my price up by $5. Something in each of those, or I'm going to remove one of the services that I have that I just don't love. I'm going to, in handovers, now set the boundaries with the clients right up front. And so you put that into your process. Or I am going to get rid of one of my low value clients that I dread when they email or call me. And then I'm going to schedule in my calendar right now something that I can do for myself for self-care.
Yeah, I love that. We love challenges. Jo and I are always giving people challenges. It's one of the things that fills us with joy, I think, is challenging people. So absolutely, just do one small thing from each of those 5 things that we've talked about, and it is going to make the world of difference.
Yeah, honestly, you will feel the relief. So yeah, there is our top 5 ways to avoid burnout. Thanks to everyone for listening to this episode of the Sam and Jo VA Show. If you'd like to find out more, head to the Savvy School website to check out the amazing members club and find more free resources.
You can find us at savvyschool.co.nz.